Right now, somewhere in your home, there are hidden cracks silently draining your money. You cannot see them easily. You probably don't even know they are there, but they are there, around your doors, around your windows, and they are costing you hundreds of dollars every single year. We are talking about energy bills that are way higher than they should be. We are talking about cold drafts creeping in during winter and hot air blasting in during summer. We are talking about moisture finding its way inside, causing mold and rot that gets expensive fast. And we are talking about insects and pests squeezing through gaps so small you would never even notice with the naked eye. But here's the good news. Today I'm going to show you a dead simple $5 fix that permanently seals every one of those hidden cracks. No contractor, no expensive tools, no special skills required. Just $5, a tube of the right sealant, and about 30 minutes of your time. By the end of this video, your doors and windows will be properly sealed, your home will feel warmer in winter and cooler in summer, and your energy bills will start going down. And that is a promise. Before we go any further, a quick safety note. Some sealants have a mild smell when fresh. Always work in a well-ventilated area and keep windows open while you work. Nothing dangerous, but good practice always. Watch this entire video from start to finish. Do not skip any part. Every section has something important, especially the step-by-step demo section where most people make mistakes. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now because we bring you practical, money-saving home fixes every single week. Let's get into it. Here is something most homeowners never think about. Your home is not a solid box. It is actually made of dozens of different materials: wood, concrete, brick, metal, glass, plastic. And every single one of those materials expands and contracts with temperature changes. In summer, the heat causes frames to swell slightly. In winter, the cold causes them to shrink. Year after year, that constant movement creates tiny gaps and cracks right at the joints where your door and window frames meet the wall. At first, those gaps are invisible, maybe a fraction of a millimeter. But over months and years, they grow. They become channels for cold air to pour in and warm air to escape. They become entry points for rainwater, which then sits inside your walls and causes rot, mold, and structural damage that can cost thousands to repair. And they become highways for ants, spiders, silverfish, and mice to walk straight into your home like they own the place. The really sneaky part? These cracks often hide behind old paint, behind weather stripping that looks fine from the outside, or in corners and edges that nobody ever looks at closely. That is why most people never fix them. They don't even know to look. But you're about to know exactly where to look and exactly what to do about it. Let's talk about what you're going to need and exactly how much it will cost. First, you need a tube of flexible silicone or acrylic latex caulk sealant. This is the star of the show. You can find it at any hardware store, a home improvement store, or even a good supermarket. A standard tube costs between $3 and $5 depending on the brand. Go for a paintable, flexible formula if you plan to paint over it later. White or clear both work great. Second, you need a basic caulk gun. If you don't already own one, you can grab a simple plastic one for about $2 to $3. Honestly, once you own it, you will use it for years, so it is a great investment. Third, a utility knife or a box cutter, which most people already have at home. Fourth, a damp cloth or sponge. Fifth, some masking tape if you want really clean, professional edges. Completely optional, but worth it. Total cost? With the sealant and caulk gun, you are looking at $5 to $6 maximum. That's it. $5 to $6 to fix a problem that could be adding $200, $300, even $400 a year to your energy bills. Let that sink in for a second. Now let me explain briefly why this simple $5 tube of sealant works so powerfully. Air is sneaky. It finds the path of least resistance, and even a crack that is 1 millimeter wide is an open highway for air movement. Studies from energy efficiency organizations have shown that the combined effect of small gaps around doors and windows can be equivalent to leaving a window wide open 24 hours a day. That is how significant the problem is. Flexible silicone or acrylic latex sealant works because it fills and bonds to both surfaces on either side of the crack simultaneously. It creates an airtight, watertight physical barrier. The key word is flexible. Unlike hard fillers that crack again over time as the building moves, a quality flexible sealant moves with the building. It stretches slightly when the frame expands in summer and compresses back when it contracts in winter. That means it stays bonded and sealed year-round, not just for a few months until the next temperature cycle. It also blocks moisture penetration because the sealant is either water-resistant or fully waterproof depending on the type. And because it fills the physical gap completely, insects and pests have no entry point to exploit. One $5 tube blocks air, moisture, and pests all at the same time. That is why this works. Now the most important part of the entire video, the full step-by-step demonstration. Pay close attention here because the technique matters. And getting it right is the difference between a seal that lasts 10 years and one that peels off in 6 months. Start by finding every crack and gap around your doors and windows. Do this on a cold day or a windy day if possible, because you will actually feel the cold air coming through the gaps with your hand. Run your hand slowly around the entire perimeter of every door and window frame, right where the frame meets the wall. Pay extra attention to the corners, the top of the frame, and anywhere you can see old paint that is cracked or bubbling slightly. That bubbling paint is almost always a sign of moisture movement through a hidden crack underneath. You can also hold a thin piece of tissue or a lit incense stick near the frame on a windy day. If the tissue flutters or the smoke bends, you have found a gap. Mark every suspect area with a small piece of masking tape so you don't miss any during the repair. Take your time here. A thorough inspection now means a complete fix later. Now prepare the surface before you apply anything. This step is where most DIY beginners skip corners and then wonder why their sealant peels off 6 months later. Use your utility knife to carefully scrape away any old cracked caulk or loose paint from the gap area. You don't need to be aggressive. Just remove anything that is loose, flaking, or not firmly bonded to the surface. Then wipe the entire area down with a damp cloth. Remove all dust, dirt, grease, and debris. Let it dry completely before moving on. A clean, dry, stable surface gives the sealant the best possible bonding surface. This is the difference between a 2-year seal and a 10-year seal. Load your caulk tube into the caulk gun. Cut the tip of the tube at a 45-degree angle. Make the opening small, about 4 to 5 millimeters. A small opening gives you much better control and a neater finish than a wide opening. If your tube has an inner foil seal, pierce it with the poker on the back of your caulk gun or use a nail. Now apply the sealant with steady, smooth, continuous pressure. Hold the gun at roughly 45 degrees to the crack. Move steadily along the entire length of the gap in one smooth pass. Do not stop and start repeatedly. That creates uneven, lumpy beads that look messy and don't seal as well. Think of it like drawing a continuous line. Slow, steady, smooth pressure the whole way. Make sure the sealant is actually pressing into the crack, not just sitting on top of the surface. Work your way around every gap you marked, one section at a time. Immediately after applying each section, before it starts to skin over, wet your fingertips slightly and run it along the bead of sealant with light pressure. This smooths the sealant into the crack, removes excess, and creates a clean, professional-looking finish. Some people use a dedicated caulk smoothing tool, which works even better, but a wet finger does a perfectly good job. If you use masking tape, pull it off now before the sealant dries for perfectly crisp, clean edges. Peel the tape slowly at a 45-degree angle away from the sealant bead. Let the sealant cure properly before exposing it to water or extreme temperatures. Most silicone sealants are surface dry within 30 to 60 minutes and fully cured within 24 hours. Acrylic latex sealants are typically paintable after 2 hours and fully cured within 24 to 48 hours. Do not rush this. Let it cure completely. Once everything is dry and cured, go back and run your hand around every sealed area again. That cold draft you could feel before? Gone. That faint whistling sound on windy days? Gone. The gaps that were letting moisture creep in? Sealed. The difference is genuinely remarkable. Before this fix, a typical home with poorly sealed doors and windows can lose 15% to 30% of its heating and cooling energy straight through those hidden gaps. That is not a small number. That is real money leaving your home every month. After sealing, that energy loss drops dramatically. Your HVAC system doesn't have to work as hard. Your home reaches your desired temperature faster and holds it longer. On a cold night, you can actually feel the difference within hours of finishing the job. And the moisture protection means you are actively preventing the kind of rot and mold damage that costs thousands of dollars to repair when left unchecked for years. This is genuinely one of the highest return DIY jobs you can do in your home relative to cost and time. $5 in 30 minutes versus hundreds of dollars in energy waste and potential repair bills. It is not even close. A few important safety reminders and best practice tips before we wrap up. Always work in a well-ventilated space. Open windows and doors while you work and for a couple of hours after applying sealant. Silicone sealant in particular has a mild acetic acid smell. It is not harmful at normal exposure levels, but good ventilation is always smart. Keep the sealant tube away from children and pets during application. Wash your hands thoroughly after working with sealant. It bonds to skin and is much easier to remove before it cures than after. For exterior applications, check the weather forecast. Do not apply sealant if rain is expected within 24 hours. Most sealants need that curing window to bond properly before getting wet. If you are working on metal frames, aluminum windows in particular, clean the surface with rubbing alcohol before applying sealant for the best possible bond. If you have very large gaps, anything over 6 to 8 millimeters wide, use a foam backer rod first. Press it into the gap, then apply your sealant over the top. This gives the sealant a backing to bond to and uses much less material. For painted surfaces, use acrylic latex caulk rather than silicone. It takes paint much better. For wet or exterior areas, Silicone is generally the stronger choice, so there you have it. Hidden cracks around your doors and windows, found, sealed, and gone for just $5 in about 30 minutes of your time. No contractor, no expensive equipment, no special skills. Just a $5 tube of flexible sealant, a basic caulk gun, and the knowledge you just picked up in this video. Your home will be more comfortable, your energy bills will come down, moisture stays outside where it belongs, and pests lose their free entry into your house. This is genuinely one of the most impactful, easiest, and cheapest home improvements you can make. And most homeowners never bother because they don't know about it. Now you do. Coming up next, we are going to tackle another hidden home problem that costs homeowners thousands, and the ridiculously simple fix that most people overlook completely. You're not going to want to miss it. If this video saved you money or taught you something useful, give it a thumbs up right now. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who need this information. Drop a comment below and tell me how many gaps you found around your doors and windows. I read every single comment. Share this video with a friend or family member who owns a home, and this $5 fix could save them a lot of money. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you never miss a video. See you in the next one.